So it establishes a C right fast, and it quickly goes to C7, back to 13 A and B, and then here's that 13 B and D. That's a C7, and then down to the 5, 6, and 8 string, like a C9 to a C7, and now the second line to an F, and a little fill on the end goes. That's literally taking up a little part of a C7 there too. So here it is in time. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Or I'll not count and just let you hear it. 3, 4, 1, 2. Or here it is along with a rhythm track so you can hear the real time of it.
1, 2,
Page 5.
4, 1, 2.
And here comes the singer. One more time. Here we go with the rhythm track.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Go. And that's about it. Now, tell you what, let's do. Let's take that intro off. You want to stop right here, you can learn it. You don't necessarily have to play that intro. You can do anything you like. But let's go to page 6 and page 7 in your book, because we're going to take the verse and the chorus and see how the chord progression might hold. And literally, we're playing fills here in terms of just a little bed of chords. But watch how nicely it makes the chords flow behind this song. Okay, let's take page 6, and then we'll take page 7. But go to page 6 there first, because this is the verse. Go right to your guitar. It starts with the F chord there on 8 A and B, 4 beats, and then back to 6 with the B and the D lever, which is an F7. So we have 4 beats of F and then 4 beats of F7. Then we have a B flat there on 6. And then down to a B flat there on 1. And then we go to a C, 3 A and B. And then to a C7th. And then back to an F. And here's 4 A and F, which is another F position. Each one of these is 4 beats at a time. Now the second line starts with, again, an F on 8. Going to an F ninth, really. 6 A, B, and D. Then to a B flat, 6, 2. Down to a B flat on 1 with pedals. Then a C ninth, A, B, and D. Then to the C seventh. And then to the F right there on 1. Now we're going to split the measure here. It's real short. 1, 2, 3, 4, because this leads us back to an F. We use this little trick many times. So we go right to page 7 now. This is the chorus of Wild Side Life, starting with 1, 4 beats, 6 A, B, and D. Notice we don't have to start on 8 with pedals. We can go from 1 to 6 A, B, and D, and then to the B flat. 3 frets up with the A and F gives us another B flat. A C is 11 A and F. A C ninth, 13 A, B, and D. Back to the 13. Back to an F on 8 with pedal. Now the bottom line, page 7, starts with an F way down low. We're going to split some of these so get some nice melody here. And 4 beats of that, but drop back to 6 A, B, and D. We'll play a ninth for 2 beats. Let the A pedal off, 2 beats. Then a B flat right there. Then up to 13 A and B. Then we're going to split the measure again. 2 beats of, or really like 3 beats of C7th. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 4th beat, hit the 9th there. You can split it even, it doesn't really matter. Then up to a C. And then to the F right there on 13. Now this will bring us right back to the turnaround, so we can go back to page 5 and play the turnaround in the middle. So we'll start with the intro, then we'll go to the verse and the chorus, then we'll go back to the turnaround and finish it out. Here we go.
1.
Page 5 first.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Page 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 4 beats at a time. The C's, C7, and F. 4A and F. Second line, C7th, C9th, B flat. The C9th, C7th, and the F. Now the split. The chorus, page 7. B flat, 9A and F. C, C9th, F. Back down to 8 pedals. The last line. What's the split? 13A and B. What's the split? 1, 2, 3, 4. F. Look out. Here comes page 5. Back to page 6. Line 2. Page 7. Last line. Here comes the last line again. Back to the C. 13. And that's all there is to it. This is quite an easy little song. It's a pure 3-chord song, but it demonstrates perfectly how just in 3 chords you can play sevenths all over the place. Okay, we're going to come right back here in a minute. We're going to take up the F lever way of doing it. The plot really thickens here because we've just used one form of the seventh, but when we start using the F lever and the B and the D together, things really get tough in terms of how the patterns go. So this is only one pattern. We'll have a whole new one. But take this song, get where you can play it sort of without looking at the sheet music. It'll be a lot better because you'll understand the pattern in your mind rather than reading the sheet music. All right, we'll come right back and take the F lever. Let's go back to track number 1 on your rhythm track there because we're going to deal with another way of playing the seventh. And we can simplify things a lot better if we just take one type of chord change in the key of G. Remember, the first rhythm track went from the G to the D and then the D7th and back. We're going to take the F lever. Now, you don't necessarily have to have the F lever on your guitar. There are ways to cheat. We did it for years, so don't panic if you don't have the F lever on your guitar. But it makes it a little fuller and a little easier to get. But I'll explain how you can get it another way in case you don't have the F lever, because a lot of student model guitars don't have that. It takes a push-pull system, and it takes a 3-pedal guitar, a 2-pedal, 2-knee lever guitar to get that. So let's go right in your book, and let's go to page number 8 and page number 9 in your book there, if you will, and cue up track number 1 again. But let's go right to the book, and we'll see another way of playing a D7th using the F lever. Now, we're going to forget all about the B and the D lever way for just a minute, but let's talk about the pattern first. So go right to your guitar first, and let's look at something. We're going to start with a G right on 10 with pedals, just to make up time because it goes there. What we're really interested in is the second half of that line. Notice we have a D chord on 10. Well, we'll play 4 beats of that D. No pedals. Notice what happens. We can go from the 10th fret And if we go up 3 frets from 10 to 13, but hit the F lever there, the F lever being on the 4th string, that'll give you a D7th. Now that looks like it's sort of like in an F position, but it's not. When you hit the F lever up there, it becomes a D7th chord. So there's our new pattern, pure and simple right there. If you have a D on 10, and it really doesn't matter which group you have. You can have 3, 4, and 5, and slide up to 13 with the F lever. Or you can have the 10 like 4, 5, and 6 and slide up to the F lever. Or you can have 5, 6, and 8 and slide up to 13. Or 6, 8, and 10. The voicing changes, that's true, and the inversion of the chord changes, but it's still D7th. So there's our new pattern. It's an up 3 from a no pedal position. Try to get this in your mind. You can take any chord you want with no pedals. In this case, it's D. And 3 frets above it with the F lever will be the 7th of that chord, or a D7th. Now, we don't necessarily always play it with the F lever. Notice that the F lever only pulls the 4th string. But if we want to, we can leave out the 4th string and play any of the others. In the first line, for instance, you're playing strings 4, 5, and 6. Now, if you don't have the F lever and you run up to 13, you'll get an F chord there. But just don't play the 4th string. Play strings 5 and 6. And it'll still sound like a D7. So leave out the one that does not pull. Look at the second line now on page 8. You might start with a G on 15, and then that high G. Now, notice what you can do. You can jump back to the 13 with the F lever. If you have the F lever, that's fine. But if you don't have the F lever, leave out the 4th string and just hit 3 and 5. And a 2-note inversion is as good as 3. In fact, a lot of times it's better. So you don't necessarily have to play all 3. Just play the top and the bottom. And you still have, even though you don't have the F lever maybe, you still have the sound of a D7. And then it goes down to a D anyway. So all we're saying with page 8, the F lever along with track 1 is establishing that new fact. So here we go. Here's page 8 along with track 1, so you get the feel of the F lever.
2. 1, 2.
4 beats of G.
4.
Another 4 beats. Now the D and the D7th. Line 2. Back to 13F. And then the D. Back to line number 1. Now the D and the D7th. And line 2. And the D7th on 13, and down to 10. One more time. Line 1, and the D, the second line, and the 13, and back and forth like that. All right, that's one way of looking at it. Let's go to page 9 now and do the track number 1, but page 9 just looks at it several new ways. Again, we start with G there, the top line. A couple of G's will be fine. Now, instead of establishing the D on the 10th fret, let's start with a D that's the A and F pedal position. There is a D major on 13 A and F. Now, all we have to do to make that D7th is to drop the A pedal off. Listen to how it goes from D major to D7th. Without that A pedal. So we can go 4 beats of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, again, 2, 3, 4, the D on 13 A and F, 2, 3, let the A pedal off. A nice inversion that you can hear there. Now the second line, back to a G down there on 10 again. Now here we go with a nice little split measure. It's 2 beats of D on 10. Quickly up to 13 A and F. Now we're on strings 3, 4, and 5, obviously. 13 A and F. And then 4 beats of the D7th. Several ways of thinking of that little pattern. So here we go. Here's page 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We use these many times in songs just like this. So here we go, page number 9, along with track number 1, just to get the pattern in mind.
2. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here's the D and the D7th, second line. Quickly now, 2 beats, let it off, back to the first line. And the D and the D7th, second line. Here comes your split, D to D. One more time, first line, D7th, D major to D7th, second line. Here's that little split. And that's all there is to that one. And you can take that as many ways as you want to. Now you can take that and you can practice that along with the first track if you want to. This gives you a simple premise of the fact that you can go up 3 from any major. Now let's change things up a little bit. Let's go to your track number 2 on your rhythm tracks, and let's go to page number 10 and 11 in your book, because we need to see how this fits in reality. It's not always just going to be one chord. We're going to be in the key of G, and we're going to want to go from G to C maybe, or from a G to a G7 to a C. And in this case, it's going to be 3 frets up from a G off the 3rd fret. Now, we've been dealing only with D, haven't we? Like D is 10 up to 13. Where is the G7th going to show up? It's going to be 3 frets above the 3rd fret. So we're going to have a G on 3. We're going to go 3 frets up or to the right from the 3rd fret, which will give us 6 with the F lever. That'll be 6, F, and then that'll lead us to a C. So in this song, track number 2, remember, goes from a G to a D several times, and we'll use what we just did. But when it goes to the chorus, we're going to be dealing with the F lever off of a G7th and the F lever off of a D7. So let's go right in your book right fast so you can hear what it sounds like. Page number 10, and we'll go through the F lever with track number 2, but it starts with 4 beats of G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's going to go to D like we did, so it's 4 beats of D. Then 13 F. Then it's going to stay in D, so let's make a major out of it. That's the 13 A and F up on strings 3, 4, and 5. And then make a D7th. And then the last 2 measures on the top line, G. Now let's go to the second line there on page 10. Like a low G, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go to 13 A and F. This is the D major. Nice little phrasing here. Inversion is nice to the D7th. Now let's go to a 17 A and B for a nice high D. Now we can drop it all the way off down to 13 F for the D7th, and then back to 15 for the G. Look out, this one has the chorus that's going to C. So how do we make a G here into a G7th? We go 3 frets up, all the way up to 18. Boy, that's up there where you call dogs and break glass and everything else. So be careful. 15 to 18 with the F lever. And then we come to page 11, which is the chorus. Start with a C on 15 with the pedal. Down to 11 A and F, because that's another C. And then G with 10. Same idea, down to 6 A and F. Another G. Look out, here we go from a D chord on 5 with pedals to a D7th, which is down on 1. Remember, that's an octave of 13. If D is on 10, and we can go 3 frets up to 13, then 1F can be a D7 too. And to a G, and we're on the last 2 measures now there at the top line. G to a G7th, 6F, because C is coming. We're on the bottom line now. C, 4 beat, and G for 2 measures. Now, a quick little split here. Here we go. D on 10 to 13F, to 17A and B. I'm establishing another little pattern that you're seeing. Notice there's D on 10, D7th on 13, way on up to 17A and B. And then back to 15 for a G. And what you're going to have is another repeat there. So what we want here is to be able to play track number 2 twice through, and we'll play pages 10 and 11 along with track number 2. Here we go. Track number 2, pages 10 and 11.
1, 2, 1, 2.
First line.
4.
The D chord, the D7th, up high, 13 and F, the 7, and the G. Now the second line, page 10. The D major, let it off, D7th, way up high, D, D7th, 13, and the 15. Here comes the 7th, 15 with pedals. Page 11, the G, the D, D7th down on a 1. Here we go, the G, G7th, line 2, and the G. What's the split? The D. And back to G. We're going to repeat now. Back to the top. Page 10. And the D. Stay in the D. And the G's. Line number 2. And the D. Way up high D. D7th. And the G to G7. Here comes that chorus, page 11. And the G. And the D. D7th. G to G7. Boy, you can hear that chord coming. See the bottom line and the G and the D, and we're going out with G's, and that's it. Try this thing and see how you do. It's your turn. We're at a place now in the progression and in the pattern that we've been dealing with that we need to think about something that's very obvious to a lot of people who've played a while, but if you're kind of new to these patterns, it needs to be brought out. What's happening here? We have 2 patterns, that's true. We have the F lever and we have the B and the D lever. And if we look at the board, we'll kind of just briefly review it here. Something we need to think about though, like we used before, if we had a G, for example, G or 10 with both pedals, you can go back to the left 2 frets and get the 8 with the B and the D lever, and that's true. That gives us G7th there. That was our first little pattern we learned. Or the second pattern we learned was going from a G on 3 maybe, as an example, and if you go to the right or up 3 frets from there, that gives you 6F. Well, that's another way. So there's 2 patterns we've learned that give us G7th. I want to bring something out because I have a lot of students in classes that get these things all mixed up. So point number 1 is, you don't want to take 10 with the A and B pedal and go back here with the F lever. That won't work. It takes the B and the D lever. Something else they try to do is say, well, if you have G, 10A and B, why can't you just go 3 frets up from there and hit the F lever? That won't work because that gives you D7. 13F is D7. So the pattern is from the pedal down position, you go back 2 frets or down and hit the B and D lever. You can't go up 3 frets and hit F lever. That doesn't work, as in this instance. You also can't go back to the left of this, like from 3 back to 1 with the B and the D lever. That doesn't work. That gives you the wrong chord. It's from the no pedal position, you go up 3 to 6F. Now that brings us to something else that should be obvious, but a lot of times escapes us. Looking at example number 3, if we can go from 3 up 3 frets and get a G7th on 6F, And if we can go from 10 with pedals back 2 frets to 8B in the D lever, then the 2 right here become almost brothers. There's 6F and there's 8B and D, or 8A, B and D, whichever is the case here. They're both G7th. Start looking at the 2 as a pattern, and it's all one pattern. What we want to see is that there's G, G7th, G7th, and G here. This is one large pattern we want to see as one large pattern. Not these 2 necessarily. We want both of these. So what we're saying is they're only 2 frets apart, aren't they? You have the 6F here, the 8B, and the D. This is the start of something big, because this is a good way to go from one to the other. You can go either way. You can come from 10 pedals and work down, and obviously all this resolves to a C, and that's great. Or you can start on 3 and you can work up and resolve to a C. What we're starting here is a chord pattern or chord progression. So it makes great melodies, it makes great progressions. The main thing is it's a pattern that you want to learn to see as an automatic reflex. Now your job in the long run, which is the hard part, is to see this in any chord you want it. We've picked G and used that as an example. What if we had a song that was in C and you wanted to go from C to C7th to F? Can you see these things as C, using the B and the D lever and the F lever, and see this pattern we're talking about right here? So I've written it on the board as G. Your job is to take it in any chord, A, D, C, whatever might happen. See these 2 chords that come together. Matter of fact, let's go right to the guitar so you can hear this thing right quick. I'll give you an example of what these things sound like. We'll take the G on 10 and work down first, like a 10A and B right here is the G major. Maybe it's picking strings 4 and 5 and 6. Well, yes, we have 8B and D is a G7. But going from right there, we can drop back 2 more frets and get the 6F. Nice little sound there, 6 to the F lever. Or going from the 6 up to the 8B and D. These 2 are brothers. And maybe down to 6, the G on 3. So you can go from the 3rd fret, G, up to that 6F, on up to the 8B and D. And this must resolve, so it might be resolving right there to 8. A nice sound there. Listen to this again. 3, a G, to the 6F, 8B and D, or 8A, B and D, and then resolve it. Or it might work the other way. Listen, here's 10 with pedals, and I could be using any group I like. I'm just using strings 4, 5, and 6. Back to 8B and D, back to 6F. Now maybe resolve it either to 8, or from 6F, I might go down to 3, A and B. A nice sound there. Even taking different groups. Let's take strings 5, 6, and 8. Listen to this. 6F, 8B and D, or 8A, B and D, and resolve it. So this gets to be great melody almost. This is a formula for a scale. So you hear these little licks all the time, and all we're doing is tying 6F and 8B and D and seeing them for what they are. They're brothers, they work together. Okay, take this idea, mull it over in your mind. It's not going to be all that much trouble, but work all you can with it and see if you can see the 2. We're going to come right back and take the wild side of life and use the F lever and do an intro and the verse and the chorus. Okay, it's your turn.